I'd like to share with you a technique that I often use to get unstuck. This could be, you're really triggered by a client, for example. You're stuck with your partner, or maybe just don't know how to deal with one of your kids or somebody in your life. Who knows what it is? But you're just not sure how to move forward. In this technique, you're accessing your unconscious mind, which knows more than any other human being who you are, what you've gone through, and what the perfect next step could be for you. The trick is, how do you actually access this unconscious mind, this information that's available to you, in a way that actually makes sense to you? We do this through the use of metaphors. A metaphor is a way of relating one situation to gain insights to another. So there's many ways we can do this. My personal preference is to do it on a nature walk, but you can do it inside a room in your home, whatever's going to be easy for you to do it. So how do you do this? I'll describe it for you. If it doesn't make sense for you, then please feel free to email me, call me, and I can walk you through it. I'll also create a second video of me actually walking through a real life one, so you can observe how I do it as well. So if you're doing it on a nature walk, what you would do is, first of all, you need to have an open-ended question to ask your unconscious mind. So for example, if I were to be looking at, oh man, I'm having so much trouble sleeping lately, I don't get it. I'm doing a great bedtime routine. I'm staying nice and calm. I'm getting to sleep nicely, but then I'm awake for a couple of hours in the middle of the night. I don't feel stressed. I don't understand it. So this would be a perfect one to use this technique for. And it doesn't mean I shouldn't access professionals as well. If I'm not having success, then absolutely I should, talk to another human who has expertise in this. And in fact, I probably will. I do have some post-traumatic stress, and I do find that for me, EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, is quite useful for me. So I'll probably make a session for that. But in the meantime, I can do a lot of my own for this. So if I was doing it in a nature walk, I would start first by, if I use music, I leave it off for this time period. I'll set whatever time period I believe I could actually be present for. I'll say I'm going to be present for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever we think we can actually handle. We take a moment before we leave the house, get centered, do some breathing, bring ourselves in our body, and then we ask ourselves an open-ended question. In this case, I could say, can you help me understand what I need to know about why I'm staying awake, or what could I do differently to sleep better, or is there something I'm missing, or something like that. That's an open-ended question, not a yes or no kind of answer. So then when we've communicated that to our unconscious, we just say this in our head, we set that aside, we begin our walk, and then we observe. We just walk. We notice two squirrels interacting. We notice a car drives by with a certain logo. Whatever happens to catch our mind, try not to latch onto it too quickly. Just notice it, set it aside in your pocket kind of thing to analyze later, because you might miss the big one if you latch onto that first one. Do your walk, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it's going to be. And then at the end of that, then you take a moment to actually reflect on the meaning of those things. It could be the way the squirrels were interacting. Maybe the squirrels were putting nuts aside for the winter, and that had a certain meaning for you. Maybe a business's logo had a certain meaning that could give you insights into your own situation. And you may not have the full answer, and that's okay. If it gets you one little bit forward towards understanding or getting a next step, that's good enough. And then tomorrow, you can do the very same thing and ask a different question to get closer to the answer. It could take a week, could take 2 weeks, but just, keep checking in with yourself, and you'll slowly get closer to finding a solution to that. If I was doing it in my office, for example, I might set aside 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever I decide on. I'll ask my question, set it aside, and then I'll walk around my office. Maybe the title of a book would have some kind of interest for me. I don't have to analyze it right away. Maybe something simple like this hacky sack. I don't know. If it catches my eye, I'll take note of it, maybe put it on the desk. I'll just walk around the room and just notice what I notice. If I feel compelled to pay attention to something, I'll note that for later and maybe even put it on my desk. And then at the end of it, I'll just stop and reflect of what the meaning could be for me in my personal situation. I find that I get really great insights. It's especially useful when I'm feeling kind of hopeless and I don't even know where to go from here. It can just get me started to move forward. So I'll do a separate video of me actually doing a real scenario if this isn't making sense for you and explain how I would use it for one of my own personal situations.